Hi, I'm Rohit Anand, Managing Director of ShopElect Private Limited. We founded GSTinput.com to help corporates claim the GST input credit on their travel spends. With GST coming in effect from 1st July 2017, the corporate started getting two invoices. One from the travel management company for their fees of management services, and the second, more importantly, from the respective airlines. Unfortunately, unlike the travel agency, which was able to generate the invoices immediately on the booking, the airlines were issuing invoices at much later dates, anywhere from 2 days to even 2 months. This created a lot of issues from a reconciliation perspective because these invoices was triggered by the airlines to the respective corporates by a mail. The data has to be extracted from the invoices which have been received by the corporates in the email, and which could be a little tricky affair because if you take in travel of Indigo for a corporate which is based out of Mumbai on a return flight for a Mumbai Delhi, Indigo will issue two invoices for the same booking. The PNR remains the same, the booking PNR line item remains the same, but there is one invoice which is for SGST, CGST for from Indigo's Maharashtra registration, and the other one from Indigo's Delhi registration, which will be an IGST invoice. However, this is not standard across. If you look at airlines like Vistara or Air India, they are actually issuing consolidated invoices for a location across tickets, and they don't use PNRs. And there, you basically have one invoice having several tickets. Now, this means that you've got two sets of data. One of the booking, which is got multiple PNRs or ticket numbers, and the other, when you get the invoices and you get that data converted, you can't really reconcile because of the multiple line items on both sides. Also, the standard VLOOKUP in Excel will fail because there's not one lookup column. You've got to look up based on PNR or ticket numbers and have multiple line items on both sides. Hence, reconciliation is tough. It gets further complicated because of the high level of cancellations and credit notes received for the same references, booking references. So, how do we solve this? The tool, the online tool GSTinput.com has a bot which first, based on the booking MIS data received from the travel agency, and we are integrated with all the top leading corporate travel agencies, it pulls the invoices directly from the websites of the respective airlines, namely Indigo, GoAir, SpiceJet, Jet, Air India, and others who are coming up with their websites. Second, by sharing the email credentials in which the corporate has received these invoices, the bot reads each and every email, finds out which have been sent by the respective airlines, pulls the respective data from each one of them, and pushes it to the tool. Hence, the tool has now got the invoices in two manners. One, automatically pulling it from the website. Second, pulling the invoices which have been received in the respective emails. Thirdly, there's a simple upload UI where the corporate, if they have, the user is basically has a local folder where all the invoices are there, he can simply drag and drop it there. Now, once the tool has received all the invoices, the next good thing it does is about reading, doing an OCR, passing the entire invoices and extracting the information in them. This is quite a difficult task because the accuracy required at the time of reading the invoices, it cannot be even 90% because from a GST perspective, you can't use a 2 instead of a Z, and you're taking money back from the government. Hence, the accuracy has to be 100%. With So many invoices in the ecosystem. We are happy that we have close to 88 airline invoices which we can read precisely. And the fact that some of these invoices are encrypted, you can't just simply copy and paste out of them. For example, SpiceJet is an encrypted PDF, so you just can't copy paste from data from it. And the fact that airlines are also changing the formats constantly. Again, SpiceJet's example, 2017 invoices are pretty different from 2018 invoices. Getting the data out from these is very critical. The tool does a fantastic job of ensuring that the data is extracted from them. We've been working with a lot of large corporates and understand the checklists which are shared by the big four. So there's a 20-point checklist on the data which is now passed from these invoices. For a corporate to avail of ITC, all of this should get passed. For example, the GST and number of the corporate is very critical. Apart from that, whether the right tax code has been used, whether GST is being, it is IGST used or an SGST, CGST being used. So the tool basically ensures that only invoices which pass through this check are taken for ITC, and it creates a bucket of errors. I'll talk about what we do about these buckets which are created. But the next step is we do a fantastic five-way reconciliation. The reconciliation is not only amongst the booking, the airline invoices, the travel management company invoices, but also based on the GSTR2A JSON file which is downloaded from the corporate's login. Basically, this is the data which is pushed by the respective airlines in the GSTN portal during their returns. And lastly, we also reconcile with the BTA or the payment file. If the corporate is using Amex or Citibank or any other corporate cards, that statements or the normal payment file. This five-way tricky reconciliation creates various buckets. For example, bucket of invoices not being received, the bucket of invoices received but not in the GSTN portal, or invoices in the GSTN portal, but we have not physically received these invoices. Remember, Section 18 is very clear of the GST Act that you can take credit only if you receive these invoices. Digital is okay, and by the way, most of these airlines have give digital signatures, so digital copy is all right. Secondly, these invoices are not dated more than a year or 6 months from the date of the end of the financial year, meaning July onwards, the corporates will start losing credit, and by 30th of September, they've got to ensure that all the invoices for the year ended 31st March 2018 are claimed. These buckets which are created are then used to by the tool to auto trigger emails with a very good 3R policy. The right data is given to the right person in the respective airline at a right time. For example, if Jet is making invoices on 15th of a month, there's no point in sending them a reminder on 14th, right? And if it goes to the sales team or to the travel agency, it does not help. It has to go to the right person who is going to be able to help in terms of ensuring the details are given. One more problem statement is that you'll take credit today, but the stat audits or the GST officer is going to come to you probably after 2 years asking for example, if the corporate is taken credit in this month for say 25 lakhs, and there are some 20,000 invoices, the TMC and the airline invoices based on which the credit is taken, the the management of these documents and reconciling with the credit taken is an Herculean task, especially because of the fact that there are so many invoices there. We really help there. When the tool gets these invoices, it tags not only based on the airline references, the PNRs, ticket numbers, the invoice numbers, but it puts a good three important date stamps on each of these invoices. One, obviously the booking date, the invoice date, but most important is the date on which the corporate is claiming the credit, and take these credits which are pertaining for earlier periods of time also. Now let's have a look at the so seeing is believing. Let's just look into and log into the tool and see how this is all working. Let's log in into the tool and let's see how it works. So privacy is very critical. We are GDPR compliant. We are hosted on the most scalable cloud servers at Amazon. Let's look at this. There's a two-factor authentication which is there. So only authorized people of the respective corporate or nominated by them can log in with their either their email IDs or their mobile numbers which are registered in the tool. The moment the email credentials are put in, the OTP is given to the respective mobile or email and you log on. So once we log on, we see these four tabs which come up. One, the dashboards. We'll talk in detail about the dashboard, but let's first understand what we earlier spoke about, how these dashboards are created. The second tab, which is the document management system, the DMS. The third, the reports tab, and fourth is the upload UI. Let's first look at the upload UI. This is the place where the booking data, which is not required, is as far as the TMCs which we are already partnered with across the ecosystem, all the large TMCs we are partners with. If you've got multiple booking partners, then you can just drag and drop the booking MIS there. So that's where which triggers the tool to pull the invoices directly from the respective airlines. So the booking data, the GSTR 2A data, which when the corporate logs in to their respective GSTN portal, it is being able to download it. The JSON, it's a very tricky file, I understand, but a simple drag and drop on this. We can also do the entire reconciliation because or because of the 2A having the entire input credit of the other spend. So the corporate can just download the Excel from their respective accounting systems and upload the other spends over here. Next, as I said, there's a third option where you can drag and drop the invoices if you have it in the local folder. So just click on the invoices and you can drag and drop. This is not required as far as the local Indian carriers are concerned, and if the email credentials are shared. This triggers the dashboards. Let's see the dashboards now. So first we have a very high level 30,000 feet picture. A starting with what are the bookings being done, how many tickets against those bookings, what are the amounts, and against these tickets we will now start looking at how many invoices have been received. So this basically shows the invoices received, and you can see tickets in the center. This is important because as we spoke earlier, the number of invoices might be different, but you could receive more consolidated invoices or multiple invoices for the same tickets or PNR, but we would want to reconcile with, in this example, you can see the number of tickets. Are we able to get the entire invoices against those tickets? So having the common field as the tickets, the number of invoices received, the amount of those invoices. If you look at the yellow color over here, this basically is the rough GST amount as per the booking data. We use the word rough because again there's a little complication in the invoices which you see or respective airlines have given. There is this non-taxable portion. So unlike the other invoices which you receive, where if 12% is the tax rate and the invoices of 112 rupees, you are sure that is 12 rupees which is the GST element there, which is not the case in case of airlines, because especially for the LCCs, the low cost carriers, there is a significant portion which is a non-taxable portion also. Hence the word rough is used, but that's a good thumb rule to understand how much is the element of GST which we can claim on. Going ahead, this basically shows you from the invoices which have been extracted, the greens you can see how much is the GST which we can immediately take claim of and recover. The next ones is with the reconciliation with the GSTN data, and these two red red being there is some errors there. So the first one, talking about the errors, as we said, we do a 20-point checklist in terms of the invoice data which has been received, and if there are any errors, if the GST number is missing or there are calculation errors, it will basically pull it into this bucket. So these are basically the error bucket. And lastly, the other bucket, which is where invoices have not been received, and because of non-received of invoices, we are losing the input credit. And this entire dashboard is highly configurable. It can be done based on the corporate's need, because the booking data is pretty rich, and we can slice and dice and we can play around. As you can see, you can actually go down, filter for a specific airline for a specific period, and get the entire MIS month wise. If you scroll down, you can basically see across these months how much is the loss which is happening because of non-receipt of these invoices. You can see specifically one of the airlines, the major portion, being stuck for this period. This really gives you an entire visibility across the months, across the airlines. You can filter out also for a specific airlines. Let's probably look at Air India, for example, and you can see these are pertaining to Air India across the period. You can further go down and look at invoices received, not received, month wise. And if you really want, when you're talking to a specific airline, you want to know across the period what are the invoices not received for an individual airline. You can see over here, you have these big graphs of various airlines, which is there. Over here in this specific demo data, you can see Jet being there, Emirates being there, Lufthansa being there. And this gives us an entire visibility on where we've got to take action in terms of the TMCs following up, or our travel desk following up. And you can scroll down and see this. We can actually help in terms of helping you integrate with your SAPs and your Oracles also, by giving an output for the accounting data also, both for the booking of the expense and for the booking of the input tax credit also. And in this example, you can have it either your cost center wise. In this example, it's in different, there are three entities, and that's why you see these three pie chart. Or it could be the cost centers, it could be project codes, the way you are following your divisions internally across GSTNs. And you can scroll down and you can see that this data is updated till what period, the booking data, the invoices, the GSTN2A file has been uploaded till what time. So this, my friends, give you an entire visibility of the drill down view. So now let's look at the document management system. I spoke highly about this because this records will be required to be fetched at a later period of time. You can see there are beautiful filters. You can filter based on airlines or a specific PNR, ticket number, or you can actually take it for a period, and just by a click of a button get the entire data downloaded. You can see by clicking on any of these links, you can go to the invoice, specific invoice there. So that's a good way of retaining all the documents, and periodically you can keep the dumps with you for every period. Next, also, let's go into some of the reports. All the reports you can think of are available, which are normally required. And all these reports, like this is a report which we are looking in terms of the booking data earlier, and in front of that you can see the invoice details being there, the invoice numbers, the CGST, SGST amount, and you can easily export this in any format you want. We all love our Excel, so you can just download it into Excel and take a copy of this. We will be able to configure and give you all these reports based on the accounting systems which you follow, or if you have a GSP in play, then we can give it in the format which is required either by the GSTN portal or with the respective GSP. So guys, hope this really helps in terms of solving the problem. We are working with the entire community. We are with large number of corporates coming to the community. It really helps us in terms of talking to the respective airlines and ensuring if there are errors or if there are non-receipt of invoices, we have a better standing. Though we do not get into operations, fundamentally the TMC and your travel desk will take care of that, but we can give the necessary tools which really empower you in terms of getting it across and taking due credit. Would love to hear from you. Below is the link where you can write to us, and would love hearing your feedback on the same. Thanks a lot.